So this next home in Cave Creek is surrounded by the natural shapes of the mountains, which is a perfect foil for the architectural style that Michael has designed here. Michael, how you doing?
Just fine.
Hi, Pete.
Good to see you.
Now, I understand that you actually designed this home as a dream home for your wife here.
Well, she put it that way after we got it built.
Oh, I see. But Suzanne, it is your dream home.
It is my dream home. It's
That's
exactly
great.
what I was looking for. Penthouse Loft.
How did you determine how you wanted to site this house on the lot here?
Well, it was relatively easy. And in fact, siting a house is really an relatively easy thing to do if you're talented. I know that the house wanted to be elevated. The living portion of the house wanted to be elevated because it has distant views. You can actually see South Mountain from here. So obviously going up the hill made a lot of sense.
Now, did that provide some particular challenges for construction?
No, the only challenge of the construction on this was getting the big glulam beams up here.
Oh yeah, with a long truck and a crane?
Yeah, all the beams were manufactured in Seattle, Washington, and they came down in one big truckload.
Those beams are so wide though, I mean they must have been sticking way past off into the desert.
Well, if you look at the two dots in the middle, those are splices.
Okay.
So the longest beam is 60 feet. And whenever I work with steel or big glulam beams like this, I limit it to 60 feet because that's what you can travel state by state without any special permitting.
Now, I don't want to pigeonhole you as a particular architectural style, but what style would you call this architecture?
I live in the present. I don't like styles, and I don't like people categorizing. So I live in the present. I often say to people, why do you drive a BMW? Why do you have an iPad? And then you live in a traditional house, or a fake traditional house.
True. But what I've kind of noticed is obviously because you've taken advantage of the elevation, but working with the grade, kind of almost getting on a particular contour, your house is long and linear, which fits into the site pretty well.
Exactly. Now, I have done buildings perpendicular to the site depending on the sun angle, okay, because this facade is due south. If the facade, if the view would have been in a different direction, then I might have turned it on the mountain, and then of course I'd have a big cantilever coming out. So.
Well, it looks pretty cool from the outside, but what's the inside look like?
You want to come up and see
let's
what
go
it
take
looks
a
like?
look. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that sounds good.
So, tell me what was the inspiration for this almost loft-like space?
I think there were several elements that were very important to me, and then I was out of the picture. Red is my favorite color. I wanted a lot of light. I lived in the back of a brownstone for many years in Manhattan. I wanted as much light as could be infused in the place. I'd always wanted to live in a penthouse loft and a place for animals. And that was pretty much it.
And this is kind of like a penthouse loft. I mean, you guys are way up here with phenomenal views, and there's not any doors in here.
No. The guest room has a door, so you have some privacy if you want.
But it looks really huge as opposed to how much space there really is here.
As soon as you eliminate walls and doors and all of that, that always makes the house look bigger. Another thing is a lot of people change floor coverings and they change colors. So if there's a continuity of materials, like this house is a wood house, it's termite free. But the floors, all the floors are the same, the ceiling's the same.
I totally agree with you that I do that in my landscapes because you try to get away from that smorgasbord effect, that everybody wants. They want all these different colors and textures, and I see you got your red here in the kitchen and with some of the accents on, on some of the structural elements, and then yeah, this great roof. Is this is sandblasted then?
Yeah, we sandblasted it 2x4s because they all had mill marks on.
So not because you wanted to?
I didn't want to, no. And the sand came down for a couple of years.
It still does on occasion, actually.
And it still does, actually.
In big rainstorms it will.
Like when they put the solar on.
So you were limited to this 16-foot span.
Yes.
Because of the 2x4s.
But I see that you kind of bumped it out a little bit back here.
Yeah, well, I wanted to bring the north light into it. Okay, I actually, if I had redesigned the house, I probably wouldn't have gone for the view, but gone for the mountain.
You know, that's that close-up view, and maybe it's a little bit more, you know, intimate, but this is pretty phenomenal.
I like the lawn.
You know. So one of the architectural elements that kind of intrigues me is this air duct right here. I mean, why the air ducts coming up out of the bench?
Well, it's interesting because with air conditioning, you want to supply high and return low. Okay. Now, because of the openness of the house, the entire house is a return air duct.
Well, that's true, and you had no place to hide anything, so you might as well make something out of them.
So to try to get the air up at the top of the ceiling, I had to have exposed ducts, and I don't particularly like exposed ducts, so I decided I'd make them out of glass. And so the bulkhead on the lower portion of it is the main duct, and then these transfer the air up to the ceiling.
Well, the house is just phenomenal. It really is.
It works for us.
It's just so light and open and airy, and you know, not a house a lot of people would see, but
It's a two-person house. I don't know, with kids it might be different, but for us it really works well.
well, we really appreciate you showing it
Thank
to
you
us.
for coming.
Up next, we head to the Red Rocks of Sedona to see a Mediterranean-style home.